A very good afternoon. My name is Manu Bhardwaj. I'm the founder and trainer of PT for 199. Today is a very special day, and first of all, welcome again to our special edition of Facebook Live session. Today's agenda has been requested a lot by my students as well as people in general. The topic, which is in demand at the moment, and people are inquiring daily about early childhood. So we have delivered finally this session, early childhood, the journey from student to resident. To take this topic forward, I definitely have two elite and renowned personalities from education and immigration world. But before that, let's quickly discuss the Pte Recent update, which are going to be effective after 16th of November 2021. I will take you through some slides in which I will show you what are the differences which are introduced by Pearson. First and the foremost is, of course, the 10 minutes optional break, which you used to get in the examination right after reading section, is eliminated and will be eliminated after 16th of November. So there won't be any break. Personal introduction will still be 1 minute. Speaking and writing section, which used to be 77 to 93 minutes and which is 77 to 93 minutes today, will be reduced to 54 to 67 minutes after 16th of November. Reading section, the time again is reduced from 32 to 41 minutes to 29 to 30 minutes. And a listening section, which is currently 45 to 57 minutes, will be reduced to 32 to 43 minutes in total. Quickly moving on and dig deeper into the tasks and the changes. Describe image task, which is currently 6 to 7 questions in Pte academic exam, will be reduced to 3 to 4 questions after 16th of November. Retail lecture, which is currently 3 to 4 questions, will be squeezed to 1 to 2 questions in Pte academic as per the new update. Answer short questions, which is currently 10 to 12 questions in the examination, will be further reduced to 5 to 6 questions in total. Writing section, there is no change in write essay task, but there is a very slight change. Today, when you give Pte examination, you face usually 2 to 3 questions in the examination, which will further be reduced to 1 to 2 questions in this task. Moving on, a reading section. Only 2 tasks will be affected after 16th of November. One is multiple choice questions and multiple choice, multiple answer questions. Currently, it is 2 to 3 questions in the examination. After 16th of November, it will be reduced to 1 to 2 questions in total. Last but not the least, listening section, only summarize spoken text and multiple choice, multiple answer questions, followed by highlight, correct, summary, multiple choice, single answer questions, and select missing words. 2 to 3 questions each in Pte academic exam at the moment, which will be reduced to 1 to 2 questions after 16th of November. Now, this is very important for us to understand what is changing and the things which are not changing in the examination after 16th. So difficulty level in the examination will not be changing. Tasks will still be 20 tasks. There is no change, and there are not going to be any change after 16th of November in the question types. Score requirements will still be the same. If you're targeting 65 plus or 7 each, it is going to be the same after 16th of November as well. And of course, the date of implementation would be 16th of November 2021. So if your exam is before that, you are still going to sit in the 3 hours exam. And the duration will be further reduced to 2 hours after 16th. So these are few changes which are going to be effective after 16th of November. If you want more update, more information and inquiries or enrollments information, you can still jump onto my website, which is www.pt4199.com.au. Now, quickly, without wasting any more time, giving you more information about Pte to discuss about the main agenda of today, which is early childhood, the journey, student to resident. I have 2 elite guests with me, Mr. Kamaljeet Singh, a registered Mara agent at Aussizz Group, and Mr. Rajinder Singh, certified educational counselor at the Migrators. Welcome, gentlemen, again to this live session. It is a pleasure to have you with me today.
Thanks, Manu. Thanks for having us on the show.
Thanks, Manu.
Okay, guys, just quickly, if you have any questions regarding or if you want to take any update regarding today's agenda, which is early childhood course from student to permanent resident in Australia, feel free to ask your questions in the Facebook chat option. I will make sure that the question will be asked and addressed in this session. To start with, Rajinder, of course, my first question is going to be regarding the introduction of early childhood course. What is early childhood course, and why should I, as an immigrant, choose this course to be a permanent resident?
As per in your question, it's mentioning like a childhood course. So basically, it's related to teaching. And the thing is, they have so many occupation in this course, like primary, pre-primary, or secondary occupation for this course. But we basically today talking about the pre-primary qualification occupation. The question you said, why should someone choose this course? So basically, recently, Victoria government is investing around like a $5 billion in last like in the decade to deliver 3-year kindergarten for this kind of the occupation. So if they investing that much money in specifically in Victoria, so in future, I believe they have a lot of job opportunity for who's doing this course or they are planning to do this course. So for the Victoria government, they're mentioning like in future, they will additionally add 6,000 job in specific this occupation. So I believe in this occupation, if someone done like a pre-primary teacher course, like as we said, like a graduate diploma in early childhood, it will be beneficial for those all candidates who done it or they are planning to do in future.
Perfect. Mr. Kamaljeet Singh, sir, any news for Victorian graduates in teaching?
See, in regards to Manu, with the news of people who have recently been graduated in regards to teaching, sort of your skill nominated is early childhood. Victoria has recently announced, alongside with the after chef and cook, they introduced this occupation as well. So as Rajinder has mentioned that they are investing that kind of big money into next 10 years. And that gives us a chance that there will be more sort of kindergartens and more teachers will be required in coming future. Alongside looking at current situation, Victoria is basically, introduced this occupation into the workforce skill. So basically what does that mean is Victoria is saying we are having shortage of teachers. We need more teachers, okay, especially when it comes to early childhood. Okay, so if you are that kind of a candidate, okay, and you have got high points, the chances are that Victoria will be inviting us in that particular occupation.
Great. Sounds like a good news for all the people who are pursuing teaching in Victoria at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, definitely, Manu. See, the thing is, a lot of negativity has gone around, especially for the candidates who have been living in Victoria. We haven't seen much invites apart from medical research or medical, health sector occupations. In last sort of 2 to 3 weeks, we have seen they introduced chef and cook first, and then suddenly they introduced this early childhood as well. We are expecting there are furthermore occupations coming in future as well, but when they are coming, we are not sure. So there is a bit of good news for the candidates who have completed the studies or who are nearly going to complete the studies. Furthermore, because Victoria is investing that kind of big money, and as Rajinder has mentioned that they're going to be at least 6,000 plus jobs in teaching itself. That gives us a strong sort of what do you call it, potential sort of that the candidates who are working in teaching and have high points, that Victoria will be inviting them in future.
Great. Rajinder, which brings me to a very important point. When is the next intake for early childhood courses?
All right. They have a lot of colleges or university they enrolling these kind of courses. They basically almost like after one month, they have intakes every year. So if we specifically talking about a graduate diploma, so I will prefer like Southern Cross Institute. They have a October intake, and they offering like a good deal for all students who just are going to enroll in October intake, because it's normal fee structure is different from other intakes.
You mentioned about fee structure. So may I ask, what does the course includes, and what is the duration and structure of this course?
Okay, in that early childhood, they have a few qualification you can go through there. So we start with the graduate diploma, bachelor, masters. If we talk about here graduate diploma, it will be just 1 year. And if we talk about the bachelor, it's around 3 to 4 years. And again, masters only for 2 years. And if we talk about the fee structure, Southern Cross Institute just offering like all students. Normally they have a fee structure is 25,000, but they recently give the discount for all students, and it will be just $18,000. And for those students who going to enroll through 485 visa, temporary residence visa, they will give him further discount on those fees. If we talk about the bachelors, it's roughly around 74,000. And it's a similar to masters as well.
Similar to masters as well. Is the value equals to master as well?
So sorry?
The value of this course?
It's okay. That it's depend on who already done the bachelor. He's just preferring to the masters, so they can't enroll in a bachelor. So for example, someone done in India or something, or other state or other country, so they can't enroll in a bachelor straight away because for their visa purpose. So most probably they have a same, but it's different from the visa purpose.
Great. Is there any English requirement for this course also?
Yes, they have an English requirement. For English requirement, it will be considered. They can waiver from English requirement. First of all, I just tell them like what's the enrollment requirement for English. It's overall 7, not less than 6. Overall in IELTS academic.
Not less than 6. So it's specifically IELTS exam or PT?
Yes. So I just to give you basic information because this is related to teaching. So they're going to considering their actual skills, because you know better than me, like you're a PT trainer. So people come to you, they're gonna achieve the score, but actually they don't improve their English. There is the only pathway like IELTS. So you can show them you have actually in a 4 module like a great English skills. So basically they just accepting only IELTS. So it's academic. And
so no PT academic at all?
No.
Okay.
Because if we will go to later regarding that one. And other they can get the waiver if they done bachelor in Australia or equivalent to international study. So they will be give to them waiver from English as well.
Correct.
And other requirement, if you say they have to sit in they have a CAPSA test. So it's a computer-based test, and they have to go through that test as well. So it's basically related to that course.
Let me just reiterate for the information of the viewers, the overall band which is required in this course is overall 7, but not less than 6 in any of the modules, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Also, money factor, as we always say, any financials which are required to be shown to be eligible for this course.
Sorry, Manu, I can't hear you. Can you just speak up a little bit?
Sure, yeah. So any financials required to be shown to be eligible for this course?
If we just talk about the onshore cases, there are no financial requirement for admission. But if we talk about the visa, then definitely it's depend on the level of university or college and also level of the country. So if they are both are in level 1, they don't need to require the funds for visa purpose. But if that case is offshore, it's definitely they need to show the funds.
Which brings me to the skill assessment part of it, Mr. Kamaljeet Singh, sir. Is there any requirements of the skill assessment for early childhood?
Basically, see, Manu, skill assessment is a piece of documentation which is pretty mandatory when it comes to sort of general skill migration or any permanent visas. Most of them we have seen, even if it's employer sponsor visas. In regards to skill assessment requirements, apart from identification and your qualification requirements, IELTS academic must is a sort of the guidelines which provide us that you must have your given score 8778. That is listening and speaking, you must have 8, and in reading and writing you must have 7, which is the minimum requirement. Again, it's an IELTS academic. I don't think so for the candidates who have been studying in teaching is that hard, because listening and speaking are those kind of modules which are basically not that hard when it comes to achieving scores. So we need that kind of score. Second is if you have sort of studied 4 years of qualification, minimum bachelor's, okay, and you might get a waiver for English as well for the skill assessment. But again, it's up to the AITSL assessing authority officer. He may or she may require or request you to go for an IELTS examination.
Rajinder, one of my student, Catherine, she is saying that she is not able to achieve 778 in IELTS examination. So is there any exemption for her for the admission?
Okay, I think that question is related to migration, because already Kamaljeet mentioned like that is the requirement 8877 for their skill assessment, not for admission. So
Okay.
already mentioning like they need an overall 7 and not less than 6 for admission. And again, they can get the waiver from the English requirement if they've done any graduation or bachelor level degree in Australia, and it will equivalent to international study as well.
Okay, so let's say I have joined a course. I've joined this early childhood course, and maybe due to any reason, maybe financial constraint, I had to leave this course in the midway somewhere. And now, if I want to take the admission back, do I require to sit in the English examination again, or my previous score will work?
It's depend on the case, because I don't think so. I get the enough information. Like she already study here. If she, okay, for example, she already done the master's here, and she just going to enroll in a graduate diploma. So in that case, I don't think so she need to require English, because she already done the master level study here, or she doing after her TR. So I think if we can ask her like a little bit more information, what's her current scenario, if she done already masters or she on a TR, and after that she going to enroll in a graduate diploma, then we can help her like what's the scenario according to her case.
So it depends purely on the case-to-case basis.
Yes.
Not
yes.
all the cases are same, right?
Right.
So it handle differently.
Because if she left, okay, I don't think so she came to from overseas on graduate diploma or like a certificate 3 in early child.
No,
maybe she has done some study here, or she after doing TR, some kind of, if we get the more information, we can explain like what she can do, she needed or not.
So Rajinder, do you also do the individual profiling of all the students which come and inquire you about the courses? Do you do individual profiling? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So not all the cases are same, and we cannot generalize them. It should be,
everyone has a different story. So someone came after the TR, someone came offshore, someone already done Bachelor of Accounting, they want to enroll in a as per like Victoria recently add up this occupation. So they have a different scenario. So they have a different stories regarding their admission.
Many factors are to be considered before doing a profiling part. Okay. Okay, nice. Sounds good. Kamal sir, one of my students, she has applied for skill assessment in early childhood, and assessing officer had requested for the documentations. Now, due to her job problems, she couldn't submit the documents within the set time frame or the deadline. Now her question is, what should I do?
See, the thing is, Manu, when it comes to assessing authorities, they are pretty strict with the, getting the documentation from the candidates. In regards to achieving the documents, whether it's a sort of your qualification documents, or if there is any kind of particular document which assessor has requested for. Due to COVID, we have seen places have gone into lockdown, strict lockdown in Victoria. If the candidate is from Victoria, or even same as your place, if like you're in New South Wales, so if he or she is from New South Wales, they might sort of grant her additional time period. So I'll probably suggest her if she can email to them and ask for an extension. It should be.
So the right way of going forward is to basically email them and request for an extension.
Yes, basically, Manu, there is no sort of physical place you can visit AITSL. Okay, the better and the quickest way would be email them. So this is my sort of a case number. This particular document has been requested. Okay, due to lockdown or maybe some other circumstances, I'm not able to achieve them. Request them for an additional time frame, so that at least we can provide them the document, and then furthermore in future she will obtain her skill assessment.
Okay, one of my student Raju, he has achieved 8 each few months back. Now he's asking that can I use PTE score to satisfy the AITSL requirement for English, as I have 80 in PTE?
Yeah, Manu, in regards to Raju's question, the straight answer is no. AITSL, being a very strict authority, has given us only IELTS academic, no other sort of same, what do you call that, level English exams, like even PTE, TOEFL, Cambridge, what sort of exams we are giving into. If you haven't done IELTS academic, you will not be satisfying that kind of criteria for your skill assessment. But again, if you can get a waiver on the basis, then it's different issue. But again, Raju is saying that he's done 8 each. We have seen candidates who have obtained 9 in each in PTE, as you yourself as a trainer are pretty aware of it. But in regards to when it comes to the skill assessment authority, they pretty want basically solid sort of candidates to training our future children in Australia. That's the reason they require only IELTS academic 8, 7, 8.
Rajinder, what do you think as a education consultant is the future of early childhood course or study in Australia?
As per in starting, I'm mentioning like in future they will be create a lot of jobs in specifically in Victoria in this field. So I think it will be like a more hope. They will get it more jobs, and they get their pathway through this course to get their permanent residency. And again, if someone already done it, that's really good for them. But if someone going to planning for that, I believe it will be more beneficial for those like they haven't any options apart from this kind of course. And again, I just mentioning here, I think I skipped their thing, like in this course, they include also professional placement available. So they're going to provide that placement to all the student through like 60 days. And they're going to provide in that placement for first 30 days for in 1 year with the 1 year child, like some kind of kindergarten, and next 30 days for those who like age between 3 to 5 years. So they will get the placement through this course as well.
Really? I mean, let me get it straight. I mean, 100% placement for the people who are doing early childhood course. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
So that placement they will get through that college. So they're going to organize for them.
Wow. Wow. Can a migrant who is in India at the moment, let's say, apply for early childhood course from India?
They can. It's again, it's depend on their profiles. If they done already graduation level, they can come in a Masters of Early Childhood. If they done B.Ed or something like that, they can also come to the master's level courses. If they have a recently done year 12 or something like, they can enroll in a bachelor degrees. So they can, yeah.
My question was actually two-way question. What are the chances of getting the visa approved? If
again, it's depend on their English score.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And their education, like how much, what their percentage in their specific education.
So is the only criteria English course? like the way you mentioned before, overall 7 and 6, at least 6 in each. That was the
Yes.
requirement you mentioned. Let's say somebody has already got this desired score of overall 7 with 6 in each. What are the chances of visa approvals when we talk about selecting early childhood?
Yeah,
as a
they have a great chances.
great
But
chances?
again, if they have a good percentage, and if they met all the requirement, they definitely have a great chance. Again, it's depend on the case officer. If they satisfy with their profile, they definitely get their visas.
Perfect, perfect. Kamal sir, my student Nisha, she's concerned about Victoria state nomination. So how many points do you think will satisfy Victoria for state nomination?
Okay. See, Manu, in regards to, before we go into that kind of a question, let's take a small example that, I think Rajinder and you yourself might find it a little bit funny. Say if I've got 8 oranges in my right hand and 10 apples in my left hand. So what do I have? So the answer lies here, you guys might think 18, yes? Yes, the actual answer is I have big hands.
I'm good.
So when it comes to Victoria will be accepting candidates who have got big scores.
Right.
Okay, so assuming being into a teaching sort of sector, okay, and saying that, okay, the skill is short and there are chances they will be inviting you. Yes, there are chances, but it's always good before they make any kind of certain changes, they might be inviting candidates. Let's at least go with the sort of, 90 to 95 points, okay, or at least 85 points, because when you are into a sort of teaching sector, you are not given a luxury to do professionally a program, okay, that leaves you 5 points behind from the candidates who are into IT, accounting, or engineering sector. But again, if you are on 85 points as a teacher, that is the maximum one can reach without skill employment. So if you are that type of a candidate, I'll probably suggest you, to lodge your ROI, and there are chances, you can go for Victoria 190 straight away if you are living and working in Victoria.
Perfect.
Kamaljeet, I have just one question here. It's regard to offshore clients. I think you mentioning all the requirement for all skilled migration visas, onshore client, right? If we talk about, if we talk about here offshore client, like they have a relevant study in offshore and they have a achieve like a desired score 8877. What's the pathway for those client? They have a same like they going to through like get their skill assessment through like AITSL, or they have a different pathway?
See, when it Rajinder, when it would be a good question for candidates who are watching, will be watching this show in overseas. Basically, when it comes to any sort of permanent resident visa, whether you are onshore or offshore, it is one basic set criteria. That person must have a skill assessment, you must have 6 siege, and you must have minimum 65 points. Again, because we are discussing, about offshore candidate, you can achieve the skill assessment if you are meeting the minimum eligibility criteria. But the second thing is, because you are offshore, say in our cases, most of the candidates, would be from South Asia countries like, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, or maybe Pakistan. In that case, what happens is, due to this COVID situation, none of the states are inviting candidates from offshore. So again, the candidate can obtain the skill assessment, but if he or she is not able to achieve high scores, there might not be a chance for them to get permanent residency. So I'll probably suggest in that case, student visa can be a better option. Okay, so that they can further proceed, their studies, future studies in Australia, and then alongside they can obtain high score and make a pathway to permanent residency.
So basically, overall, there is like less chances if they apply for like any kind of PR visa offshore instead of like onshore. If they come to on student visa and they can continue like relevant to that study. And
what happens is, Rajinder, when it comes to sort of applying permanent residency from offshore, the candidate does not get that kind of, Australian study points or
Right.
regional points.
Right.
Or when it comes to skilled employment, it's a lot of big difference of years in regards to skilled employment. So it's always better, if you are choosing to get permanent straight, try to get higher points. That means you must have, sort of a big experience, number of years of experience, or the better pathway would be, apply for a student visa and then you go on from that pathway.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
Counsellor, from a immigration point of view, since you are such a renowned immigration consultant, what do you think the future of early childhood course would be in coming few years, and especially after post-COVID, post-COVID scenario?
See, Manu, the thing is, a lot of people have settled down in Australia. Okay, every year Australia is growing. Okay, we have seen families getting better. Alongside in this COVID, families have been pretty busy doing babies, especially when it comes to international migrants. So again, when there's children involved, we need teachers, we need kindergartens, so that our children can, they can be educated. And education being the primary sort of, skill, which is to be obtained by a human being. I think so when it comes to comparison with other occupations, teaching would be one of those kind of occupations which will be competing alongside with the health sector as well, because we can't ignore health sector. That's fine, okay, because of this COVID situation and stuff going on around in the world. But again, education is one of those sectors as well, which cannot be ignored. And if the candidates or the children or the youth are not educated of a country, that country doesn't succeed anywhere. So I'll probably suggest, Manu, that, it's going to be a bright future. It has been a bright future. Apart from Victoria, other states have been pretty sort of a lenient, easy-going pathway for teachers. But yeah, if you are talking about future, yes, there is strong future.
Correct. Okay. As you mentioned earlier, Kamal sir, that the highest point one can achieve in this course is 85 points. Yeah. So what are the things which are involved to achieve those higher points in this profession?
See, when it comes to achieving points, we are looking at the candidates who are in between 25 to 32, which will help them to achieve 30 score. Okay. And if a candidate has done minimum bachelor's or master's, which is comparable to Australian qualification framework, which will give them 15 score. Again, if you have done 2 years of Australian study and you are satisfying that kind of requirement, gives us another 5 scores. So which reaches us to 50. If a candidate is never married, or he or she has an Australian citizen as a partner, you can obtain 10 scores. So basically we go on to 60. Again, we are aware that for the skill assessment, IELTS academic is required, which must be meeting 8778. But for visa purpose, we can still obtain a PT score. We can use the PTE score. So if a candidate is achieving that kind of a score in IELTS, it will be very easier for them to score 8 in each, or you can say 9 in each in PTE. So we'll be ending 20 points, which gives us 80 points. Okay, then comes if a candidate can, go and do CCL exam, which is held by NATI authority. Basically they call it NATI exam, but the actual exam is CCL. So if you are able to, do that kind of an exam, easy exams, 20 minutes sort of practice is required anyhow. So maximum points a candidate who is not married will be achieving 85 scores. Or if you are married and you have got a skilled partner, basically a partner who can give you skill assessment plus 6 in each, you will be obtaining 85 points as well. So that is one can hold. Plus, if you've got a registration, Manu, okay, and you are still working in your field, we haven't seen any invites in last 1 year. So we are assuming that if the candidates had their registration done last year and they have been working in their own nominated occupation from last 1 year, they might be able to secure another 5 points, which becomes 90 points. So yeah, 85 to 90 points are those kind of points which are pretty promising when it comes to state sponsorship visas.
How
Kamaljeet, here is one question regarding that skill assessment. Once they achieve their got their skill assessment through their IELTS, or as per you said, they can get the waiver from English score in IELTS academic. So first question, how long that skill assessment is valid for? First thing.
See, normally the skill assessment, if not written on the skill assessment, is valid for 3 years.
Okay. Again, if their skill assessment expire, and if they want to apply for again, then they have to fulfill their English requirement again, or all
So
the.
they have to, yeah. So basically, when your skill assessment is expired, okay, so you have to again meet that kind of requirement. So whatever the requirements may change or they may not change, so you have to go through the same pathway again.
Great. Kamal sir, how important is the time, during the entire process from a student to a resident in this course? How important is the time factor?
See, normally, Manu, what happens is when candidates are sort of, trying to get enrollment into this course, as Rajinder has mentioned, that sometimes, during the admission level, that kind of IELTS score is not, necessary. But when it comes to skill assessment, or when it comes to registration as a teacher, that kind of score is mandatory. So what happens is no point if candidate doesn't have a capability to achieve that kind of a score should be enrolling in this type of course. So I'll probably, advise candidates, like, for example, as previously Rajinder mentioned that his graduate diploma course is approximate 1 year. And our IELTS academic, normally is valid for 3 years, or when it comes to student visa is valid for 2 years. So I'll probably suggest them that you should do your IELTS academic first, so that even if you are in that kind of a duration, your IELTS is still valid and you will have no problems getting your registration alongside your skill assessment done. But if candidate is moving forward and investing, big money into that kind of a course, and then after the course he's coming up with these lame excuses that he's not able to achieve that desired IELTS academic score, basically you wasted your 1 year. So, and furthermore, he or she might be wasting another 2 to 3 months. So it's always advisable. Now, normally we have seen, Manu, that candidates who have done bachelor's back home, okay, or master's back home, they should be, straight away coming to us and looking for further options, because sometimes we have seen, candidate has more sort of prospect straight into PR without even finishing his or her student visa or studies, or going into some other pathway, might go into some other state and trying to finish that kind of a study. So yeah, it's always very crucial to understand this, that alongside studying is one thing which will be giving you further more points. Now, Manu, the second thing is not many students will have that kind of thinking that they want to get permanent resident. Okay, we have seen a lot of time, candidates will come to educational counselors, candidates will come to migration agents just for their future advice in regards to their career pathways, not permanent residency pathways. So again, accordingly, we do advise the candidate what is the pathway, but sometimes after 2 to 3 years, because they have been in this country, it's a beautiful country, everybody wants to be here, it's too late, because you basically invested 2 to 3 years in some kind of a study, which is not sort of beneficial to Australian community or that kind of occupation. So you have to be very, serious about your studies. You have to be very serious about your options. What is your plan? What are your goals in future in regards to your career alongside your settling down options in Australia?
Kamaljeet, I'm just having another question. We are talking about their point system, right? So in the point system, if they want to increase their point system, more point, so you already mentioned their NATI, English score, everything. If we talk about the experience, now my question related to experience, right? If someone done the experience in offshore, they have a guideline, they can get the some certain experience, and they got the according to that the points according to their point system. But if someone doing study and they doing that same job during their study, it will be acceptable experience?
See, Rajinder, they can't do the same job, okay, because a registration is mandatory. So
Okay.
basically, this is like you're working as a doctor, but without, medical practitioner license. So they will first complete their studies. They will get the registration to work as a teacher. And then only schools and, principal will be looking at their, all those kind of mandatory checks, and they will be getting the employment in regards to teaching. We have seen, girls, they have been working in childcare, but they can't be working in a childcare. It can be like a childcare sort of a small courses or something, but not strictly into sort of teaching when it comes to early childhood or secondary primary school teachers. So anything apart from, after your registration, it will be counted towards your skilled employment.
Okay. Again, I have another question. What is the best state after or during after the study, or if they wanna enroll in some certain of states they're planning for, like they wanna choosing that pathway, which state is the best at the moment and in future? As per we already mentioned, like Victoria investing a lot of money. So in that case, Victoria has a great chance. Apart from Victoria, any other states, like they can planning for some reason they can't stay in Victoria and they have planning for other states. So if you can just explain to us, like what other state is more beneficial than?
See, Rajinder, when it comes to deciding sort of, states, okay, let's take an example when it comes to regional sort of studies. So if one person asks us questions, what is a regional state? We normally have an answer. Apart from Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane, we are considering all other regions as a regional. Again, postcodes must be considered. So when we are talking about, future studies, we do understand that Victoria is, giving sort of strong commitments and showing sort of strong benefits to this particular occupation. But any candidate who has, future plans about studying apart from Victoria, I'll probably recommend any regional, which is apart from Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane, would be more beneficial, because if you are investing at least 2 years of studies in regional, that will give them extra 5 points. That gives them a stronger profile of reaching to 90 points. So, Western Australia, like Northern Territory, even Tasmania, okay, we can talk South Australia, all those kind of, states are pretty sort of easygoing when it comes to getting 5 additional points for regional and, securing your options for permanent residency.
Kamaljeet, I have another question here. Sorry, Manu, I'm just interrupting you again. You talking about like all regional area recently, like if we heard it's after a long time, New South Wales and Western Australia. It's kind of like they distributing all the invitation around for everyone. I don't know, it's a rumors or actually they're getting the invitation. So if we talk about the New South Wales, they have a requirement like a kind of offer letter or employment. Same with the Western Australia. But I think people are talking about they're preferring like a more Western Australia these days, because they're getting easily the invitation, they get the offer letter, and straight away they just apply for their skilled migration with the 192.491. So if you can just let us know, like or the client.
See, when we are comparing states, Rajinder, Western Australia has been pretty, one of those active states nowadays in regards to inviting people with, high points. Alongside, as I've previously mentioned, that if a candidate is having 85 points and, their occupation is that kind of in the list, alongside, if you have a job offer in Western Australia for further 12 months, again, if a candidate has got strong points, I don't think so you will have that kind of, what do you call the difficulty in finding a job offer. Okay, and it is an easy pathway for a candidate to get 190 in Western Australia. When it's compared to New South Wales, see, New South Wales did a recent 190 invitation round, but assumingly, high points score candidates were picked up. Alongside, we haven't updated our data yet, but we are assuming that 95 to 95 plus candidates were invited. Alongside, they might have given preference to health sector as well. So Western Australia with job offer letter, would be a best option if we are obtaining high points in our particular nominated occupation.
Okay. So if someone someone living in Victoria, they're planning to move some states. So I'm not asking which one is a better. So
I'll probably suggest looking at today's situation, Victoria is good if you have got a job in Victoria, but if you do not have a job in Victoria, then Western Australia, can be a good option for you.
Thanks for asking difficult questions from Kamal sir. I always wanted to ask these series of difficult questions from him, but I could fail. So thank you. Okay, I have a two-way question, one from the education expert and one from the immigration expert. The question is common. What are the various challenges or a challenge you face while getting the student visa approved, number one, or admission approved? And second is, what are the major challenges you face to get a PR or permanent residency approved? So
first, I will start with the first.
Yes, please.
So if we talking about the admission and student visa, first of all, we already discussed all the requirement. I think I forget something here in a basic requirement. So basically, they have to fulfill their English requirement. They have to fulfill their CAPSA test. And again, it's another thing. It's also related to skill assessment. They have a working with children check and AFP. If they haven't get those things, they won't be able to get their admission. And that's a protocol for the admission. But if we talk about the student visa always depend on GT. So it's a genuine temporary entrance. If that thing is strong, if they explain like they are a genuine student, they are going to study, that's the reason. And if they prove it, or if they explain like exactly what their scenario, and they can prove to a case officer, they definitely get the student visa.
How can you prove that you're a genuine,
Okay, I just to give you a simple example. Due to pandemic, the health sector is like on a high demand. So I enroll a lot of students. They have it accounting background, IT background. So they explain like if that situation, pandemic situation, will we help? In all over the world, they need a health sector employment, right? So everyone, if someone going to enroll in a nursing, so that will be help if I don't say that like in future some kind of that thing happen, but in future if something happen, they will be helpful for all the people, all the relative or in home country, because they're going to set up their own business. So that's the reason, like how you can prove like you are genuine. So you don't need to prove you actually, if you are actually genuine, you can just let them know like that's why I'm going to do that study. So basically you have to give them like a exact information why you're doing that course and how it will be beneficial for in future. And once you finish your study and once you just go to your home country, how it will be beneficial for you and your family or in future for your job employment.
Okay, to get the visa approved, do you have to give everything, every detail in writing to the department?
So sorry, what was that?
So to get the visa approved, do you have to give everything in writing?
It's not a kind of like a writing document. You have to explain. It's kind of a letter. So you have to explain what have you done in the past, what are you doing currently, and why are you choosing this course in future, and what kind of beneficial for you in your home country once you finish your study.
Correct.
So we need to explain like why you choosing this course and what the beneficial for you in the future. And if the case officer satisfied, yeah, right, like that's a genuine case, he actually want to study and become a nurse or become a pre-primary teacher, then definitely they satisfy with their answer.
Perfect. Kamal sir, what is the biggest challenge you face?
See, I'll maybe add on with Rajinder's answer as well. GTE is genuine temporary entrant criterion, which is pretty sort of, what do you call it, a major backbone of a student visa. Okay, we have seen candidates sort of making mistakes in their GTE, trying to convince the officer, is no point, that we assume things, okay, this course is going to help me, this or this course is going to help me. Sometimes they make all these bullshit sort of statements to the department, and it doesn't work like that. Case officers are pretty educated, they do understand the pathways which may or may not be beneficial for a particular candidate in his home country. They have to assess a criteria, what are the potential circumstances. It is always recommended, when we are applying for any kind of a visa, Manu, or whatever the criterion is, it must be basically let the professional dealt with the same visa. Same, for example, if you have got a problem in your car, what do you recommend? Should I go to McDonald's and ask them to fix my car? Because I have got a friend who is working in McDonald's, okay, and he's got hands-on experience. He's working at home, and he can fix my car. We never do that. Yes,
correct.
It's always advisable, sort of let the professionals, assess your case, think about your background, okay. Let them, hear about your background, double check your circumstances, so that when a person is sort of lodging your visa, he should not only, try to rely on, as Rajinder has mentioned, okay, Australia is pretty, following on health sector occupations, or they have been compelled basically to give priority to health occupations. But that does not make any sense if every candidate is going into health sector. Okay, so you should meet a proper qualified person. There are all other, number of occupations as well apart from health sector. Okay, in our, sort of countries, we have seen, Manu, that a candidate, if my friend is doing nursing, 10 million friends are doing nursing. If my friend is doing cookery, 10 million friends are doing cookery.
Correct.
Yes. So previously, if my friend is doing motor mechanic, everybody is motor mechanic. Okay. It doesn't work like that. That's why, what happens is, in India, in Punjab, it happens, if there is too many onions, everybody wants to grow onions, and then they have to throw the onions on the side of the road because nobody wants to buy it. That's how it goes with the, Australian immigration. So Australian sort of communities, we have to weigh up, what is your background? What do you like? Then an educational counselor will advise you, okay, this is, these are the options. These are the courses. The candidate might or may not have that kind of, passion in that particular course. And then further, when it comes to GTE, the GT is the strong backbone of the visa, which must be satisfied to the department's delegate, which is case officer. Okay. Now, if you are not able to satisfy him, it's a definite refusal. Okay. Because as you've asked, Rajinder, the question that, okay, how can you satisfy the GTE? There is no such, a word how we can satisfy the minister. There is always trying to convince the minister, or convince the immigration that, okay, how this study is going to help me in future, how this study will help me in my back home country, how this study is going to be having impact on my futures in regards to earnings and stuff. So it's always, what he has given you basically a very small sort of idea that if a GTE is not written in a proper manner, or if it is not, sort of assessed by a qualified person, it may, end up in getting your visa refused. We have seen a lot of cases, Manu, where the candidates, they outsource people to write down their GTE. We have seen a lot of people. What happened in that case is, we have seen refusals. I have myself been into AAT so many times in regards to student visa refusals. When we have read their previous GTE, you just by the reading the GTE, you can see it's copy pasted. Okay. So sometimes we have seen the names on the GTE, are the names of, we don't know. Okay. The person. So it's always up to the candidate okay, when we are assessing your file, okay, you share as much as information you can with us. Let the qualified counselor, assess your case. He will advise you accordingly. And then further, in regards to permanent residency, they are fully aware what kind of occupations are in permanent pathway. And then, you move forward. But when finding difficulties in regards to visas, as your question says, Manu, what are the difficulties we found? Number one, my friend is the highest immigration lawyer. Okay, that is the number one difficulty we find. Okay, because everybody will have that one friend who is the immigration lawyer of that particular group. Okay,
but not registered.
Yes. So what will happen is, Manu, no, it's not only about registration, but the knowledge. When it's minimum, it's very dangerous. Okay. So candidate is relying on a less knowledge, assuming things. Okay. I've got my TR, I will get his TR. I've got my skill assessment. I'll get his skill assessment. I've got my student visa, especially on student visa. We have seen a number of cases, candidates want to apply their student visa. Oh, my friend applied my student visa, but I never saw my GTE or all those things. So this one friend immigration lawyer, or a Mara agent.
Okay, Kamaljeet, I'm going to add one thing here, because that if we just thinking he applying his tourist visa, whatever the visa he applying according to him, but his case totally different from him, then they are going to mess up with the case. That's the main reason.
And definitely, because we do acknowledge, that your friends are your friends, okay? But choosing a PR pathway or understanding the immigration, when we go back, some years, 5 to 6 years, they were not that kind of strict in nature. Nowadays, because that kind of, potential has increased, where candidates have started providing immigration with all those kind of bogus documentations, and, then these friends agents have come up. We do not advise people to do such kind of thing, which is first thing. Second thing is, when you are sort of providing documents to the immigration, Manu, we have to be very serious that whatever is necessary, only that particular document must be provided to the department. Is no point, you provide the department with 10 million documents. It will just make your life hard. It will just make your case officer's life hard, to assess each and every, because according to the guidelines or maybe their own protocols, they might have to assess each and every single document which you are providing them. So it's no point, you keep applying or keep submitting any kind of document which is not required or necessary by the department. But again, the question rises, how do you know that this particular document is necessary? A qualified person will help you in that. We have seen many times, Manu, people have submitted Form 80 in their 485 visa. Okay, which is basically not required. So in that sense, I will probably suggest candidates, you should always assess your profile accordingly, from a qualified person, and then you further look for your visa pathway options.
Three key takeaways which I could take from what have you explained, Kamal sir. One is, take your GTE very seriously, because what I could figure out is it's completely on your intent base. You have to convince GTE that you are genuine. Second would be no foul play. Do not provide any bogus document or fake documentation to the department, because they are going to conduct a lot of background check on those. Third would be, I think, stay out of the rat race. If your friend is doing something, he might have a different scenario altogether. He might have a different profiling altogether than yours. So do not follow the rat race, stay out of it. Take consultation from an expert so he can guide you. Now, the biggest point is, when we say take consultation from an expert, it is very difficult to find that expert in the market, because everybody, market themselves as expert or immigration expert. So what do you recommend on that point?
See, Manu, when it comes to, sort of finding a registered migration agent, MARA is an authority where we all are registered as registered migration agents. There is a proper register, where you can find your particular agent. You can search their name. You can search my name. Okay, you will see my all details up there. Okay. So it will sort of basically, give you a surety that your application is not in the wrong hands. When you are talking to a person, you should always ask them whether you are qualified to do so. Basically, as previously we mentioned that if someone is a doctor, but they do not hold a registration as a doctor, how would you know that they are a doctor? Okay, so basically, they might claim they are a doctor, but they might be a butcher as well. Okay, so basically they do the same thing. Okay, cutting flesh. Okay, so it's always recommended that, okay, everybody, we do understand, is trying to promote their thing and then trying to manage their business and stuff, but it leaves the responsibility on the candidate himself, that he or she must be doing a little bit of research, okay, in regards to finding about the person. Okay, we are already in sort of that advanced technology that is not that hard to find a person or find any kind of information if it is required. So if we are in that kind of technology, we can assume that how advanced immigration might be when they are assessing our profile, where we are, which kind of relationship we have been into, if we are lodging into partner visas and stuff, alongside what kind of documents we have provided to the department. So it's a lot of things, Manu, when it comes to assessing the profiles. But if your profile is in good hands, I have personally told a lot of people when I get busy that I can't sort of do your profile. Okay, it's always recommended to let the client know that you are busy, maybe you can't do your file in proper in a given time. It's always advisable to seek some other help, or we can refer that particular person to someone else, so that your time is not wasted.
Exactly.
Yes, and you can find a proper help from someone.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Fair practice must be followed. If you're busy, you should always refer or recommend somebody else so that the time won't be wasted of a candidate. Okay, I want to take a question from my existing student Pragati, and it may be funny for you, Kamal sir. Future invites for 189 teaching.
I'll probably say for 189, the future goes only to our health profession.
Okay, STEM occupations, correct?
Yes, sort of. Not only STEM occupations, when we are talking health sector major.
Okay.
Okay, because we are talking 189 now. In regards to 491 family, we are expecting there might be some other occupations, excuse me, because they are being considered. But again, 189, I'll probably suggest only health occupations would be preferred. But because if Pragati is been living in Victoria, she might be jumping up and down. Okay, if Victoria, is giving that kind of seats as we previously at the start of the session, we mentioned 6,000 seats. So it doesn't mean that whole Australia needs teachers itself, but right, whole Australia does need health sectors, occupations. So I'll probably say maybe in future, but not at the moment.
And another student of mine, she has completed her teaching in South Australia. Now she's asking, can she apply for Victoria 190?
See, Manu, if the candidate is living and working in Victoria, yes, the answer is definitely yes, because they do not care where your qualification has been into. But if you are living and working in Victoria, yes, you can apply. But if you are living and working itself in South Australia and you want to apply in Victoria, the answer is no, because the commitment level for the state doesn't exist. So again, if you're in South Australia, the answer for Victoria is no.
Perfect, perfect. Rajinder sir, any last piece of advice for the people who wants to pursue early childhood as a prospective career path?
Again, they have to check with the migration agent first, and then come with the if they actually have a pathway with this course in the future in any state, then definitely they have to enroll in. Otherwise, just advise what courses for them beneficial in the future.
That means a proper profiling should be done before applying, correct?
Yes, because they already, I think they already get other occupation as well, and they want to try their luck in this occupation as well, because recently Victoria say that will be beneficial for them. But before that, they have to just discuss with the migration agent and then decide which course they're going to enroll in, and that will be beneficial for them. Then they have to fulfill their requirement for all admission, and then it will be great for them.
Lovely. Kamal sir, last piece of advice for all the people who are currently in Australia and pursuing this course.
Yeah, last piece of advice would be, Manu is in New South Wales. Okay, if you've got any PT inquiries, you can contact Manu. In regards to education sector, Rajinder is doing great. You can talk to them, in regards to your course options. In regards to your permanent residency or any sort of visa sort of situation, you can contact us in Aussizz Group. So hopefully, in coming future, Manu, we are doing a lot of sessions on regards to different sort of visas as well.
Right.
If you have a particular sort of questions or you want particular visas to be questioned or a session on, it's always advisable. You can leave a comment underneath, and then we'll be discussing matter further.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Guys, as Kamal sir said, I'm just reiterating, if you want any help with clearing your PT, NATI, IELTS examinations, you can certainly jump onto our website, www.pt499.com.au. For any education consultancy advices or any study purposes or any study related advices or suggestions, you can certainly get in touch with Mr. Rajinder Singh. He sits in Tarnit. And for any visa related inquiries, you can certainly get in touch with Mr. Kamaljeet Singh. He sits in Aussizz Clayton branch. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining this session as well. I hopefully see you next week as well, when we're going to pick up another exciting session next week, Sunday, 1 p.m. Thank you so much.
Manu. Thanks for inviting us.
Thanks, guys. Have a nice day.